After leaving Mykonos, we sailed across the beautiful Mediterranean toward Valletta, Malta, enjoying a relaxing day at sea along the way. Valletta, the vibrant capital of Malta, awaits with its rich history and charm. But before Valletta, the island's capital was Mdina, famously known as the Silent City. Before heading out, we grabbed breakfast in Eden. If you're sailing on the Celebrity Ascent, Eden is the cheat code for a quiet morning meal. It has both indoor and outdoor seating, and best of all, it's never crowded. Our tour started with a bus ride inland to Mdina. The city is surrounded by massive fortress walls, and as soon as you see them, you feel like you've stepped back in time. We entered through the Valletta Gate, one of the most iconic entrances, and if you're a Game of Thrones fan, you might recognize it. It was used as a filming location for King's Landing. Just inside, we stopped at Palazzo Villena, an 18th century Baroque palace built by Grand Master Antonio Manuel de Villena of the Knights of St. John. Today, it houses Malta's Natural History Museum, but originally it served as a grand residence and administrative center. Our next stop was St. Paul's Cathedral. This striking Baroque church was built after a devastating earthquake in 1693 destroyed the previous Norman structure. Tradition says it stands on the site where St. Paul met the Roman governor Publius after his shipwreck on Malta around 60 AD, an event that introduced Christianity to the island. We then walked along the Mdina ramparts, where the views stretch out over the Maltese countryside. Our guide led us through the narrow, winding streets, where it felt easy to imagine life centuries ago under the Knights. As we exited the fortress for a quick break, I stopped to admire the craftsmanship of the massive limestone walls. We wished we had a little more time to explore inside the churches and wander the side streets, but our guide reminded us it was time to continue our journey back to Valletta. On our walk towards St. John's Co-Cathedral, we passed by some of Valletta's most famous landmarks. First was Triton's Fountain, built in 1959. The fountain features 3 bronze tritons, mythological sea gods lifting a massive basin. Today, it's one of Malta's most recognizable symbols. Next, we passed the Royal Opera House. Originally built in the 1860s, it was one of Valletta's grandest buildings until it was bombed during World War II in 1942. The ruins were preserved, and today the open-air space still hosts concerts and performances, a unique blend of tragedy and resilience.
Look it up there.
When we reached St. John's Co-Cathedral, the line looked long, but with a tour guide, we were quickly escorted inside. And let me just say, this might be one of the most ornate churches I've ever seen. Built in the late 1500s by the Knights of St. John, the cathedral is covered in gold leaf, intricate marble floors, and Baroque details everywhere you look. We even saw a worker carefully restoring one of the chapels. The highlight painting is the Beheading of St. John the Baptist by Caravaggio, the only painting he ever signed and one of the masterpieces of Baroque art. Despite the crowds, this stop was absolutely worth it. From the cathedral, we walked a short distance to the Grand Master's Palace.
It was Greg and Regina's. It would have been Eddie stole it.
This was once the residence of the Grand Masters of the Knights of St. John, and later it became the seat of British colonial governors. Security is tight. No backpacks or water bottles are allowed inside, so we had about a 10-minute wait while everyone was checked. Once inside, though, we were rewarded with history. The Palace Armory holds one of the largest collections of weapons and armor in Europe, much of it dating back to the Knights. We then toured the palace's richly decorated halls and chambers, where you can almost picture what life was like for Malta's rulers centuries ago. After the palace, we walked back through Valletta's charming streets, lined with cafes and shops. At this point, my wife and I decided to break away from the tour and wander on our own, which gave us a chance to soak in the vibe of the city at our own pace. We ended our day at the Upper Barrakka Gardens, a peaceful park with sweeping views of the Grand Harbor and the Peter and Paul Bastion. Every day at 12 noon and 4 p.m., the saluting battery cannons are fired. While we were there, we even saw a guard practicing for the ceremony. From the gardens, we could also see our cruise ship waiting in the harbor, which made for the perfect photo spot. To return to the port level, we took the Barrakka lift, a modern glassed elevator built into the historic fortifications. The ride costs just €1 per person. While there was a line, it moved quickly. Here is a word of advice. Don't wait until the last minute to return to your ship. Even though it looks close from the lift exit, you still have a decent walk to get back inside the port gates. Luckily, we had time to spare, so we did some shopping and strolled along the waterfront before heading back to the Celebrity Ascent. Overall, we loved our day in Malta. From exploring the medieval streets of Mdina to walking the grand avenues of Valletta, we got to experience both the old and new capitals in one unforgettable visit. If we ever return, we'd probably start with a boat tour around the island and then spend the afternoon exploring Valletta at a slower pace. That wraps up our day in Malta. Thanks for coming along with us. And don't forget to join us in our next video, where we continue our journey aboard the Celebrity Ascent with our final stop in beautiful Barcelona.